The Void Reaper's gambit, the bridge of the E.D.'s Valiant, shook violently as another Zephyrian void blast tore through the ship's shields. Admiral Sarah Chon gripped her command chair, watching the tactical display show the grim reality. Red dots, representing human ships, were disappearing one by one, while the blue energy signatures of the Zephyrian fleet remained untouched. "Admiral, we've lost the Hercules and the New Tokyo." Commander Jake Morrison reported from his station, his voice tight with barely controlled panic. "That's 12 ships down in the last hour. The enemy fleet is still at full strength." Chun studied the holographic display floating before her chair. The Zephyrian Empire had finally come to finish what they started 3 years ago. Their ships moved through space like deadly ghosts, phasing in and out of normal reality. When they materialized, their energy weapons could slice through human armor like paper. When human weapons fired back, the enemy ships simply became incorporeal, letting the attacks pass harmlessly through them. "Status of the orbital defense platforms?" Chun asked. "Luna Base is gone, ma'am," Morrison replied grimly. "Mars Station is holding, but they're reporting heavy casualties. Earth's planetary shields are down to 60%. The Admiral closed her eyes for a moment. 3 billion people lived on Earth, and billions more throughout the Sol system. If humanity's last fleet fell here, it would be over. The Zephyrians would drain every star in human space, leaving dead worlds floating in eternal darkness. Doctor Elena Vasquez looked up from her science station. "Admiral, I'm reading something strange. The Zephyrian ships are maintaining a specific formation around their flagship. It's almost like they're protecting something." "What kind of something?" Chun asked. "I'm not sure. There's a massive energy buildup in the center of their fleet. It's unlike anything I've seen before." Vasquez's fingers danced across her controls. "Admiral, if that energy signature is what I think it is, they might be preparing to drain our sun itself." The bridge fell silent except for the hum of failing systems and distant explosions. Chun had known this day might come. The Zephyrians were beings of pure energy who fed on stellar radiation. They didn't want to conquer humanity. They wanted to harvest every star humans had ever touched. "All ships, this is Admiral Chun," she announced on the fleet-wide channel. "We're going to make one final push toward their flagship. If we can disrupt whatever they're building, we might buy Earth some time." "Ma'am," Morrison said quietly, "that's suicide. Our weapons can't even touch them when they phase shift." Chun was about to respond when every alarm on the bridge began screaming at once. The main screen flickered and showed a massive energy signature appearing directly between the human and Zephyrian fleets. "What the hell is that?" Morrison shouted over the alarms. Space itself seemed to ripple and tear like fabric. Reality bent inward, creating a whirling vortex of dark energy. Then, with a sound that somehow carried through the vacuum of space, something emerged. The ship was unlike anything Chun had ever seen. It was enormous, easily twice the size of her flagship, but it moved with the grace of a hunting predator. Its hull was midnight black, covered with patterns that seemed to absorb light itself. Strange energy coursed along its surface in veins of deep purple and silver. "Scanning the new vessel," Vasquez reported, her voice filled with wonder and fear. "Admiral, this ship is using technology I can't even begin to understand. It's generating its own gravitational field and somehow manipulating dark matter. Is it human or alien?" Chun demanded. Before Vasquez could answer, the communication system crackled to life. A voice came through the speakers, speaking perfect English with an accent Chun almost recognized. "Admiral Sarah Chun of the Earth Defense Fleet," the voice said. It was male, confident, and carried an undertone of bitter amusement. "I see you're having some trouble with our mutual friends." Chun activated the response channel. "Unknown vessel. Identify yourself immediately. State your intentions. A laugh came through the speakers. My intentions? I intend to save your species. From extinction, Sarah. Though I admit, I have my own reasons for wanting these energy parasites gone. Who are you? Chun asked again, but she was beginning to suspect the impossible. My name is Captain Cale Thorne of the vessel Void Reaper. I believe you knew me once, Admiral. Before I was declared dead and erased from all official records. Chun's blood went cold. Cale Thorne had been her mentor 15 years ago, a brilliant tactical officer who had vanished during a deep space mission. The official report said his ship had been destroyed by a spatial anomaly, but Chun had always wondered if there was more to the story. That's impossible, Morrison whispered. Cale Thorne died 15 years ago. I was there when we held the memorial service. Apparently, reports of my death were greatly exaggerated. Thorne's voice replied, somehow hearing Morrison's comment. Admiral, we don't have much time. The Zephyrians are almost ready to begin their stellar harvest. If they succeed, your sun will be drained within hours. On the tactical display, the mysterious black ship moved toward the Zephyrian fleet with impossible speed. As it approached, something extraordinary happened. The Zephyrian ships, which had been phasing in and out of normal space at will, suddenly became solid and visible. How is he doing that? Vasquez gasped. Their phase-shifting technology should make them untouchable. Because, Thorne's voice answered, I know how their technology works. I've had 15 years to study it, Sarah. 15 years to prepare for this moment. The Void Reaper opened fire, and Chun watched in amazement as weapons unlike anything in human science lashed out. At the enemy fleet, beams of concentrated dark energy struck the Zephyrian ships, and for the first time in 3 years of war, the energy beings screamed. Admiral, Thorne's voice came again. I can help you win this battle, but I need something in return. What do you want? Chun asked, though she suspected she wouldn't like the answer. The location of Earth's quantum core, the one your government has been hiding beneath the Sahara Desert. Morrison jumped to his feet. Admiral, that information is classified. At the highest levels. Even we don't know. I know it exists, Thorne interrupted. And I know you have access to those coordinates, Sarah. The quantum core is the key to humanity's future in this galaxy. But it's also the key to stopping the Zephyrians permanently. Chun stared at the screen, showing the impossible black ship fighting beside her fleet. Everything about this situation felt wrong, but her ships were dying, and Earth was minutes away from having its sun drained dry. Why should I trust you? She asked. You've been gone for 15 years. Where have you been? How did you build that ship? And why did you wait until now to help us? Because, Thorne replied, his voice turning cold, I've been in exile, Sarah, cast out by the same government that now begs for salvation. I've been traveling the dark spaces between stars, learning from species that exist in the void itself. The Zephyrians aren't the only energy-based life forms in this galaxy, and they're certainly not the most dangerous. Another massive explosion rocked the Valiant as a Zephyrian destroyer managed to score a direct hit. Chun watched her shields, dropped to critical levels, and made her decision. Commander Morrison, transmit the quantum core coordinates to Captain Thorne. Admiral, I can't do that without authorization from Earth Command, Morrison protested. Earth Command will be dead in 10 minutes if we don't act now, Chun snapped. Do it. Morrison hesitated for a moment, then began entering commands into his console. Coordinates transmitted. Thank you, Sarah, Thorne's voice said, and for a moment it sounded like the man she had once known. Now let me show these energy parasites what 15 years of planning can accomplish. The Void Reaper suddenly accelerated to impossible speeds, diving straight into the heart of the Zephyrian formation. As it moved, space around it began to warp and twist. The dark matter weapons created pockets of absolute void that not even the Zephyrians could phase through. "Admiral," Vasquez called out in excitement, "I'm reading massive disruptions in the Zephyrian energy matrix. Whatever Thorn is doing, it's working." Chun watched as the mysterious black ship carved through the enemy fleet like a sword through silk. But she couldn't shake the feeling that she had just made a deal with something far more dangerous than the Zephyrians themselves. The battle was far from over, and she suspected that Captain Cale Thorne's return would change everything for humanity. The question was whether that change would be salvation or something far worse. As the Void Reaper continued its devastating attack on the enemy fleet, Chun realized that the war with the Zephyrians might just be the beginning of humanity's real challenges. Asterisk. Alliance of Shadows, the Zephyrian flagship pulsed with angry energy as the Void Reaper tore through its escort vessels. Admiral Chun watched the tactical display in amazement as ships that had seemed invincible moments before were reduced to scattered energy fragments. "Admiral, we're receiving a priority transmission from the Zephyrian command ship," Communications Officer Torres reported. "Put it through," Chun ordered. The main screen flickered and displayed a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix. The Zephyrian overlord Vex-High spoke in a voice like crackling lightning. "Human Admiral," the creature hissed, "your species has made a grave error. The shadow ship you ally with carries death itself. We came to harvest your stars, but that vessel brings extinction to entire galaxies." Before Chun could respond, Thorn's voice cut through the transmission. "Still spreading fear, Vex-High? Tell the Admiral what you really are. Tell her why you fled the Andromeda Galaxy." The energy being's form flickered with what might have been fear. "We fled because of things like you, Shadow Walker. Beings who consume the very fabric of space-time itself." The transmission ended abruptly as the Void Reaper's weapons found their target. The Zephyrian flagship's shields collapsed in a cascade of failing energy. "Captain Thorn," Chun said on a direct channel, "I need to speak with you face to face. Can you dock with my ship?" "Of course, Sarah, but I should warn you, I'm not quite the same man you remember." 30 minutes later, Chun stood in the Valiant's main docking bay with a full security detail. The airlock cycled, and Captain Cale Thorne stepped through. Chun's breath caught in her throat. He looked exactly as she remembered, not having aged a single day in 15 years. But his eyes had changed. They held depths that seemed to reflect the void between stars, and when he moved, shadows seemed to follow him. "Hello, Sarah," Thorne said with a familiar smile. "You look good for someone fighting a losing war." "Cale, what happened to you? Where have you really been?" Thorne walked to the viewport overlooking the battle. The remaining Zephyrian ships were regrouping, but they no longer seemed eager to engage. 15 years ago, my ship didn't malfunction," he began. "We discovered something. A transmission from deep space, older than human civilization. It was a warning about the Zephyrians and others, like them. Species that consume entire star systems and leave nothing but cold death behind." Dr. Vasquez stepped forward. "But the official reports said you were investigating gravitational anomalies." "The anomalies were real," Thorne replied. "They were tears in space-time, created by beings that exist in the dark matter itself. Ancient entities that have watched galaxies rise and fall. They taught me how to build the Void Reaper, but the price was exile from normal space-time. Commander Morrison kept his hand near his sidearm. And now you want access to Earth's quantum core. Why?" Thorne turned from the viewport, and for a moment his human facade slipped. Chun saw something vast and alien looking out through his eyes. "Because the quantum core isn't just a power source, Jake. It's a gateway. The same technology that allows faster-than-light travel can be modified to access parallel dimensions. Dimensions where humanity can spread beyond this galaxy before other threats arrive." "Other threats?" Chun asked. The Zephyrians are nothing compared to what's coming, Thorn said grimly. In approximately 50 years, a force will emerge from the galactic core that makes these energy parasites look like fireflies. Humanity needs to be elsewhere when that happens. Alarms suddenly echoed through the ship. Torres's voice came over the intercom. Admiral to the bridge immediately. We have multiple incoming signatures. The group rushed to the bridge, where the tactical display showed a horrifying sight. Hundreds of new Zephyrian ships were emerging from hyperspace, surrounding the Sol system in a sphere of deadly energy. It's their entire battle fleet, Morrison whispered. Every ship they have. Vex-High's image appeared on the screen again. Human Admiral, surrender now, and we will make your death swift. Continue to resist, and we will drain your sun slowly while you watch your world freeze. Chun looked at Thorn. Can your ship handle that many enemies? The Void Reaper is powerful, but not that powerful, he admitted. However, I didn't come alone. He activated a device on his wrist, and space began rippling around the Sol system. One by one, ships began decloaking. They were human vessels, but like the Void Reaper, they had been modified with impossible technology. Ladies and gentlemen, Thorn announced, meet the Shadow Fleet, humans who chose exile over extinction. We've been preparing for this day for 15 years. Dr. Vasquez stared at the tactical display. 40 ships, all using dark matter technology. How is this possible? Because humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons, Thorn explained. It's our ability to adapt, to learn, to become something new when survival demands it. The Shadow Fleet moved with perfect coordination, their dark matter weapons creating zones of absolute void that the Zephyrians couldn't phase through. But Chun could see it wouldn't be enough. We need to even the odds, she decided. Dr. Vasquez, can you analyze the Shadow Fleet's technology and adapt it to our remaining ships? I can try, Admiral, but it would take hours. We don't have hours, Thorn said. But we have something else. Sarah, remember the quantum tunneling experiments from the Academy? The ones they said were too dangerous? Shun's eyes widened. You want to quantum tunnel our entire fleet directly into their formation. Not our fleet. Your fleet. I'm going after their command ship personally. Before Chun could object, Thorn was already heading for the airlock. The quantum core coordinates you gave me aren't for opening a gateway, Sarah. They're for creating a quantum cascade that will transport every human ship in the system directly behind enemy lines. That's suicide, Morrison shouted. The quantum interference alone would tear our ships apart. Not if the Void Reaper creates a dark matter buffer, Thorn called back. Trust me, Sarah. One last time. Chun watched through the viewport as Thorn's shuttle returned to his impossible ship. The Void Reaper began moving toward the center of the Zephyrian formation, dark energy crackling along its hull. All ships, this is Admiral Chun, she announced on the fleet channel. Prepare for emergency quantum tunnel on my mark. We're going. To show these energy parasites why you never underestimate human ingenuity, the quantum cascade began, reality bending around the human fleet. For a moment, Shun felt her consciousness stretch across multiple dimensions. She saw possible futures where humanity conquered the stars and darker timelines where the galaxy burned. Then they were through, emerging directly behind the Zephyrian command ships. The enemy fleet, caught completely off guard, took devastating damage in the first volley. All ships concentrate fire on their flagship, Shun ordered. The combined firepower of the human and shadow fleets focused on Overlord Vex-High's massive command vessel. The Zephyrians' energy shields flared and failed under the onslaught, but Chun's attention was fixed on the Void Ripper. Thorn's ship had somehow phased partially out of normal space, existing simultaneously in multiple dimensions. Dark matter. Weapons of impossible power lashed out, and wherever they struck, Zephyrian ships simply ceased to exist. Admiral, Vasquez reported in amazement. I'm reading cascade failures throughout their fleet. Whatever Thorn is doing, it's disrupting their quantum matrix on a fundamental level. The battle turned into a rout. Zephyrian ships that had seemed invincible were fleeing in all directions, their phase-shifting abilities neutralized by the dark matter field generated by the Void Reaper. Overlord Vex High's image appeared one last time on the screen. This is not over, humans. Others will come. The Shadow Walker has doomed you all by teaching you forbidden knowledge. The transmission ended, and the surviving Zephyrian ships vanished into hyperspace, leaving the Sol system free for the first time in 3 years. Chun opened a channel to the Void Reaper. Kale, thank you. But I have to ask what happens now. Will you stay? Thorn's image appeared on the screen, and Chun could see the cosmic depths in his eyes more clearly now. I can't stay in normal space for long, Sarah. But I've left you something. Dr. Vasquez, check your science databases. You'll find complete specifications for dark matter manipulation and quantum cascade technology. You're giving us the technology? Vasquez asked in wonder. Humanity earned it today. You faced extinction and chose to fight instead of surrender. That's the kind of species the galaxy needs. Thorn paused. But remember, with great power comes the attention of greater powers. Use this knowledge wisely. The Void Reaper began fading from normal space, its hull becoming translucent. Admiral, the Shadow Fleet will remain in this dimension to help defend human space. But I must return to the void between stars. There are other threats that require watching. Will we see you again? Chun asked. Thorn smiled, and for a moment he looked like the man she had once known. When humanity is ready to take its place among the true powers of the galaxy, I'll be there. Until then, survive, adapt, and never stop reaching for the stars. The Void Reaper vanished completely, leaving only the faintest ripple in space-time. Chun looked around her bridge at her crew, then at the tactical display showing the Shadow Fleet taking positions throughout the system. Dr. Vasquez, begin analyzing the new technology immediately. Commander Morrison, coordinate with the Shadow. Fleet commanders. We have a lot to learn, and not much time to learn it. As the cleanup operations began, Chun couldn't shake the feeling that humanity had just graduated from one level of existence to another. They had faced the darkness between stars and emerged stronger for it. The Zephyrians were gone, but somewhere, in the cosmic depths, other threats waited. And when they came, humanity would be ready with knowledge, bought in blood, and determination that no force in the universe could break. The war with the Zephyrians was over. Humanity's real journey among the stars had just begun. Asterisk.